Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Add excitement to your holidays with Ohio Lottery Holiday Scratch-Offs, including $1 holiday cash and $5 holiday lucky times 10, or Holiday Bonus Millions with a 200 times multiplier and a $2 million top prize. Plus, enjoy second chance drawings where you can win 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times the price of your ticket. Scratch-Offs make the perfect gift, and best of all, there's no wrapping required. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red. As you can tell, I am not Dave. I'm not Dave Davis. I'm not Dave Hendrick. It's me, Guy. Both of them are busy. So I'm here for the daily news. Obviously, we play today, so that's probably what's going to be mainly focused on is the Girona game, which is a 5:45 kickoff, I believe. So yeah, nice early. Means Raw will be quite early as well. So let's just look through. This is Anfield, and we'll go on Anfield Index and have a look what's on the horizon today. Yeah, so 5:45 kickoff. Just, I think it's what that happens now and again on TNT, just to split up the fixtures. This is Anfield has 10 things to know about the game, so I'll go through a couple of these. Obviously, we're sat top of the table on 15 points. We've won every game, unless we get battered. It's only really Inter Milan who can overtake us today. They've won 4 and drew 1. We're basically through, aren't we, in the top 8? I know we haven't got, I don't think we've got many hard fixtures remaining. I think it's a Girona, Lille and PSV off the top of my head. So, I think we're basically through, and if not, we're basically through top as well. It's a really good position to be in. This is Anfield, say 16 points would be enough to get top 8, but yeah, with the inconsistencies around everyone else, it'd be a big surprise if 8 other teams overtook us. McAllister's suspended tonight, so we'll probably see a slightly rotating midfield. I think a few of us were probably hoping to see maybe Morton or Endo anyway, just for the rotation, but with the game suspended on Saturday, maybe the rotation's not as important now, and maybe it's more important to keep Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch's minutes ticking over, but it wouldn't surprise anyone, I don't think, if Morton or Endo started. I'd probably rather see Morton, to be honest. I think he's more suited. I don't think he either have a long-term future at Liverpool. But I think Morton, we saw him a few years ago in the Champions League, and it'd be a nice little nod back to that, wouldn't it? Team news, Alisson's back with the squad. He travelled. If it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, who do you start? Do you put Alisson straight back in? Or do you keep faith with Kelleher and just ease Alisson back in? I suppose the easy answer is put Alisson back in, especially after Kelleher's poor game against Newcastle. I mean, it'd feel extremely harsh, but when you've got the best players in the positions in the world, you do have to be harsh, I think. I think Alisson, at worst, is top 2 goalkeeper in the world. I'd have him as top 1. I'd just put him back in and get him ready for Fulham at the weekend. And then Southampton's next midweek, I think. So Kelleher will be back in for that. So, yeah, I'd probably just put Alisson back in. Let's have a look at this is Anfield's predicted side. They've gone Kelleher. Fair enough. Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, Endo, Jones, Szoboszlai, Salah, Diaz, Gakpo. I think that front three is probably what I'd play against Fulham, unless Jota's back. But then I think you've got to ease Jota back in because, well, we know he's very injury prone. Darwin's not been great this season, but I think if I was to pick one of the games for pick him in, it'd probably be this one. That's just a question of whether it's for Diaz or Gakpo. And Diaz and Darwin together, I don't think it worked last season. Obviously, both of them don't score a lot of chances, so I'd probably put Darwin in instead of Diaz, and then at the weekend I'd put Diaz in for Darwin. I think that's probably the best way to go because Diaz and Darwin just miss too many chances together, I think. Endo, Jones, Szoboszlai in their midfield here. I'd probably put Morton in instead of Endo. It doesn't really matter either way, does it? Jones and Szoboszlai, yeah, that's fine. It wouldn't surprise me if Gravenberch just plays and maybe we make some early subs as well. Robertson's literally the only left-back who's fit at the minute. Kwanzaa over Gomez, question mark, I suppose. It'd be nice to get Kwanzaa some more minutes. He's obviously had a bit of a weird season with the form of Ibu and obviously losing his spot on the first games. It always feels a bit harsh. Trent's obviously only just come back from injury, so maybe Gomez at right back could be an option. I'd maybe start Kwanzaa. From listening to AI Scouted when we were recording it, I think they said their strike is very physical, so it might be better suited for someone like Kwanzaa over Gomez. But I mean, Gomez has dealt with Erling Haaland easily at times, so I don't think it matters either way. But I'd like Kwanzaa to get some minutes. Trent, just a fitness question mark, isn't it, really? What have they got here? Girona struggles. Obviously had a bit of a mad summer, didn't they? Were excellent last season, the surprise package across Europe and La Liga. And for them to get Champions League football, I know they're part of the City group, but they obviously don't get treated like Man City. They're not getting billions to spend. So to do it kind of smartly with players, some of them off the scrap heap, yeah, fair play to them. They've done really well. They've obviously struggled quite a bit in the Champions League, but to be in the Champions League for a club like Girona is massive. Like we've seen Leicester in recent years. Villa's not really the same, is it? Because they've obviously got the history of winning it, but when these sides get into the Champions League, I think you see it with the Ligue 1 sides like Brest and maybe Monaco less so. Lille doing very well in the Champions League. Why not? Why would you? You should prioritise the Champions League. It's sometimes a once in a lifetime opportunity for clubs like these. Why not go all out for it? It's on TNT. Let's have a look. To watch out for, this is Anfield have got Christian Stuani, who used to play for Middlesbrough, a bit of a cult hero up at Borough. I know Michel, the manager's quite highly thought of, so that might be one to keep an eye out in terms of Premier League names. Obviously, there's quite a few jobs that are kind of unstable with, well, we saw it in El Sacchio last night with West Ham and Wolves. It wouldn't surprise me if either of them are looking for a manager in the near future. Everton probably looking for a manager in the near future, wouldn't surprise me. But in terms of name, I mean, Bojan Miovski has been named here. Yasser Asprilla, I think he did well at Watford, if I remember correctly, in recent years. Donny van der Beek exists. Arnaut Danjuma has always been, before his loan move to Everton, was kind of an Europa League-ish type player, wasn't he? So that's an interesting one. Familiar face, Oriol Romeu, still kicking about. Yeah, it's a strange one. Not a team full of superstar names, but it's obviously worked in recent years. Don't really care who the referee is, let's be honest. Yeah, it's on TNT Sports 1 at 5:45 for the UK people, so we'll obviously be watching it. On Raw tonight, it's me, Jim, and Harry. We're going Navanless, we're going Irishless. Trev's obviously with the storm and stuff, it's kind of buggered his fibre optic cable, I believe. So hopefully he'll be back for the weekend at the latest. Hopefully for me as well. I'm a background person nowadays, people. And Dave's obviously just busy during the midweek, but I think both are back for the weekend, hopefully. Cross your fingers. Other news.
This episode is brought to you by Disney Plus. Game on, because ESPN Plus content is available on Disney Plus. You can watch your favorites from Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus together like never before. With ESPN Plus, unwrap a full day of NBA action on Christmas Day. Tip off the festivities with the Spurs and Knicks, followed by the Mavs and Timberwolves. Then a clash between the Lakers and Warriors, followed by the 76ers and Celtics. And finally, the Nuggets face off against the Suns, all streaming December 25th. Then with Hulu, watch the terrifying sci-fi thriller Alien Romulus, where a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the ultimate horror. And on Disney Plus, follow the adventures of 4 kids across the galaxy as they meet unlikely allies and enemies in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law. All of these and more now streaming and available with a bundle subscription. Visit DisneyPlus.com for details. Terms apply.
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Opendoor. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at Opendoor.com or download the Opendoor app. Opendoor is represented by Opendoor Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Opendoor Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
Gift sport with gifts from Nike. From the retro Vomero 5 sneaker designed with Zoom Air cushioning to fleece engineered with lightweight warmth and next-level comfort, we have the perfect gift for any athlete on your list. Shop now at your nearest Nike store.
Mo Salah and Van Dijk have no intention of speaking to new clubs. This is again on This Is Anfield. I think it's from Melissa Reddy, who we obviously know from years, is very well clued in on all things Liverpool. Now working at Sky Sports, just for a couple of the quotes, unequivocal in their desire to stay at Liverpool, and that is the anticipation. I mean, I won't read through the entire article, because go check it out on This Is Anfield, because they do good stuff, obviously. It's really good things to see, because how many times in the Rafa era, even like Suarez when he left, but you can kind of understand that, we've had world-class players, and the club's just never been a destination. There's always that feeling that your players would go to one of the Spanish giants. Maybe less so like Bayern Munich, because I can't remember off the top of my head losing anyone to Bayern Munich. But we had Xabi Alonso, we had Mascherano, Torres obviously left to Chelsea, Suarez to Barca. Like, it always felt like, not a stepping stone, because I think that's like a tier down, but when I was growing up, there was always that fear of Mascherano's going to go, Xabi's going to go, and they ultimately did. And we saw what happened when players of that caliber did leave. We didn't replace them well because we didn't have the money at the time. Whereas now we've got, inarguably, the 2 best players in their separate positions wanting to only stay at Liverpool. It's mad how things have changed, and the rebuild of the Klopp era now into the Arne Slot era, and you've got to give credit to the higher-ups as well, of Mike Gordon and Edwards, etc., and the different ones. But for Liverpool to now be a destination club, which I think it has been for some, obviously South American players have a different affinity for the big Spanish clubs. But like Mo Salah and Van Dijk could walk into any club in the world. And the fact that a very credible reporter in Melissa Reddy saying they have no desire to speak to anyone else other than Liverpool, it's mad. That's mad to me. Like, to quote Qui-Gon Jinn of all people, there's always a bigger fish. We are now the big fish. We are one of the biggest fish. It's about time we treated it like that. It's about time we got these contracts done. Obviously, there was the reports on Sunday that we offered Salah a contract. Hopefully that gets accepted and we sort it out. And there was the Van Dijk one a couple of days before as well. So if it does get sorted, if them two stay, then hopefully the knock-on effect is saying Trent may be convinced to stay because he seemingly is tempted by one of the biggest Spanish lads in Real Madrid. Obviously, he's got seemingly his best mate, Jude Bellingham, at Real, so it's a bit different. Like, I think everyone can understand Real Madrid's the biggest club in the world. Like, I don't think as big as we could be or Man United could be, I think the only one that could rival it in terms of global fan base is Barcelona, and obviously they've been a bit of a mess, and obviously Messi's left, so they don't have that superstardom. But Real Madrid have this unmatched history from the 50s, and obviously this last decade they've just been unmatched in terms of success. So I get the Real Madrid allure. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play for the biggest club in the world. But it is romanticism, but we are a special club, and if we can keep these three players, it's going to be one of the most exciting projects in world football. Like, we've got a really exciting manager now, a really likeable manager now as well, and that's not to say Klopp wasn't likeable, but maybe to the neutral he wasn't. But I still love the man. We're playing exciting football. We're playing with a new level of control. It really is. Unless someone really likes mountains in the Basque part of Spain, like, it'd be difficult to turn down Liverpool if it's just a footballing decision. Like, you look at the impact on players this season already. Like, you could start with Mo Salah. Like, he went from being post-injury last season to being pretty bad to being the best player in the world. Ryan Gravenberch was probably someone people would be like, yeah, I wouldn't mind losing in the summer. He's gone from basically being a project to being one of the first names in the midfield. It continues. Konate was named in the summer as someone who needed a big season to basically save his Liverpool future. And before his injury, he was arguably just as good, if not better, than Van Dijk in certain stretches. Robertson, who was having a tough couple seasons, I don't think he's gone up the levels of someone like Konate, but he's been better this season. Szoboszlai, I think, has been a bit more consistent. I think his on-ball still needs work, but the impact is there. We saw the impact on Diaz early in the season. Gakpo's been really good since he got into the squad rotation. The only one it's not really worked on the top of my head is probably Darwin. I think everyone else has improved in certain regards in terms of the performance. It's a really exciting time to be a Liverpool fan. And if we can certainly keep the two, Salah and Van Dijk, and then if we can convince Trent to stay with us over Real Madrid, like, that's huge. That'd be massive in terms of world football. Imagine trying to convince someone in the summer and just go, we've just re-signed these three lads. They're three of the best players in the world. Two of them are undoubtedly the best in their position. You can argue about Trent all you want. I wouldn't trade in for any right back in the world. Yeah, it's bloody huge. It is bloody huge. Anfield Index, let me just open the tab because I was being amateurish and didn't actually open it. Podcast-wise, obviously post-match Raw, as I mentioned, it's me, Harry and Jim. There's the Gags Tandon show afterwards on YouTube, and I think there will be an audio version as well. The watch-along with Jack is on, I can't remember when it starts, but it starts just before kickoff and obviously watching the game. So do check that out if you're looking for new content. Other podcast-wise, we recorded AI Scouted yesterday, so that's live. Under Pressure was out last night. About the Newcastle game, obviously with the game suspended, so it was just the one game. But there is a fatigue index I need to do, but I might save it for after. We obviously have a bit of a gap from Tuesday to Saturday, so I might put it out after the game, so it doesn't get lost in the game shuffle. So yeah, it's obviously a busy period. We've got the game early-ish tonight. Means early night for me. Lovely. But let's have a quick look through articles on the website before we finish up. It's obviously a lot of it's about Girona. Alisson returns, brings Liverpool's winning formula. Yeah, I think it's strange, isn't it? I think when people have talked about Liverpool's injuries this season, like maybe it's because of the form of Kelleher. That's probably the main reason why. Alisson does make a difference. Like, as good as Kelleher has been, there's an aura around someone like Alisson. There's an aura around people like Van Dijk and Trent and Mo Salah. Like, Kelleher has been that good. It's not really... We've not really missed him, but say the Newcastle game's obviously the big one, because I'd say at least 2 of them were savable. Maybe all 3 of them were savable, especially the last one, obviously. But there's just a different aura to Alisson. Sometimes he'd make the difference. I think he's a bit better on the ball at times as well. It may not be a huge difference in terms of what Kelleher has done, but the man's one of one. Like, there's no replacing Alisson. So yeah, without going into the article from Stephen, Alisson's just different. He's different gravy, isn't he? There's an article from Dave Daily Red from yesterday, and I think he looked at Chelsea, seeing as we didn't play. Chelsea now seemingly dubbed as our main rival in terms of the Premier League, with Arsenal and City dropping points over the weekend. It's an interesting one. When you watch Chelsea, like, I don't know, I just think them still missing something. Like, you see them line up in defence with Badiashile and Colwell, and then you're like, that just doesn't scream title challenger. Like, Cucurella has obviously improved quite a bit this year, starting with Spain. Bit of a mess. I think he screws up for 2 goals by slipping and then gets an assist. So he had a bit of a wild day. Robert Sanchez isn't a title-winning goalkeeper. I think it's too early for Chelsea. Obviously, they've spent a lot of money. I think there's next levels of refinement to come before their title challenges, but they're ahead of where they'd expect to be. Maybe that's a bit scary, considering they're a very young squad still, and maybe if you had 1 or 2 superstars in there, or even just about settled defence, or if you put a centre-back in there and a goalkeeper in there, I know Fofana's highly thought of, but can you trust the injuries? A right-back might be an issue with Reece James. The midfield looks very promising, obviously. Yeah, it's a bit... not scary, but it's a bit daunting that Chelsea have improved quite quickly. So maybe in the coming years, but yeah, this season I think might be too early. Yeah, so that's it from what's on the site. Obviously, keep an eye out for Raw. I mean, what time will it start? Probably about 7:45-ish? Maybe a bit earlier than that. So yeah, probably about 7:30, 7:45 we'll probably start. It is live on Discord, so do check us out if you fancy listening along, and obviously we'll be out a smidge later on. But thank you everyone for listening. Goodbye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index, and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.